Now to cross-border legislation. Towards fostering cross-border legislation and unlocking African international relations, the National Assembly is assuring its Ghanaian counterpart of continued collaboration for effective legislation. Director General of the Institute of Legislative and Democratic Studies, Professor Abubakar Suleiman, gave the assurance during a benchmarking visit by members of the Committee of the Independent Constitutional Bodies of the Parliament of Ghana in Abuja. The Committee of the Parliament of Ghana, led by Isaac Ashai, was at NILS to gain the formula of success achieved and understand how the Institute deepened democratic architecture of the Nigerian governance.
And we are happy to be here to learn from our big brothers. We call Nigeria our big brothers. And no doubt, since we arrived here, what we call innovation in our country, we see that you've set the pace. And so we are expectant to know the formula and what is making you succeed in a very difficult economic, social, and geopolitical environment as we all witness. And so my team here would want to understand how your work as an institute deepens the democratic architecture of the Nigerian governance. And we also want to understand how the institute relates to individual representatives and Senate members within the legislative organ or arm of government. We do have an institute dedicated to parliamentary studies. We call it the Institute of Parliamentary Studies. I'm sure the curriculum may not be very different, but I want to leave here picking one or two to go back to Ghana and see how we can also refresh our curriculum and make our institute not just as big structurally as we have seen here. Ours is not that big, but also as impactful as we have seen. Because I look at the volume of work that goes on in your National Assembly, and I look at the arrangements of support services, I think that something good must be happening over here. And we are here to commend you and to have this all-important exchange for our community. To conclude, I want to pat you on the shoulders and assure you that keep doing what you're doing and improving. Since we arrived, we have been warmly received at every point in time. On the eve of Sunday, we were not surprised. The programs took off on Monday, and the support staff that have been with us have done a good job. We've been able to interact with the House of Representatives. We had a wonderful time with the President of the Senate and a couple of the committee chairs. We've had some good exchanges that is truly benchmarking, because sometimes your younger brother could have an idea that can also help you as a senior brother. And so our first 3 days have been very fruitful, and we have no doubt that this section would add to our experiences. On this note, we thank you for your warm reception, and we thank Director General for making time out of his busy schedules to be with us this morning.
The Director General presented the institutional structure of NILS to the committee, commending Nigeria's government for establishing the institute.
Trying to, what they open a kind of joint accounts, and the money has to go through the states. But there was a ruling which was at the instance of the Mr. President by the Supreme Court that said, look, a local government with the authority of government is autonomous, and therefore the allocation should come directly, from the federation accounts. So, just as we have in Ghana, I think we have similar. But on the issue of legislature, yes, our legislature, they are autonomous, especially, to the best of my knowledge, the Senate and the representative. And they receive their allocation through what we call the first line charge, you know? But the issue of whether they have been well resourced, whether the allocation given to them, the resources given to us, you know, is enough for us to cater for us, I think it's another thing entirely that we need to look into. And it's not just a problem affecting the Nigerian legislature. I think it's a general problem. Because that this notion, as I said, that when you talk of government or democracy, it's all about the executive. And not only in Nigeria, even in the Western Europe too, the president is so powerful that look at what Trump is doing in the US today, even meddling into what judiciary is doing in terms of pronouncement. So I think that's the problem we have here. But in our climate, especially in our country, I think we are our own problem. I'm saying this because the issue of legislature is not at par with the executive. It's not at par with the judiciary. Judiciary and the executive over the years have been expanding in terms of structure, in terms of networking, in terms of operation, even in terms of various acts. But because of the nascent issue of the legislature, that expansion has not, okay, executive have so many branches, how many parastatals, so many agencies. In the Nigerian National Assembly, for instance, we have just 4 agencies. And even Nigerians, most of them do not even know that these agencies exist. Most Nigerians do not even know that the Public Complaint Commission is under Nigerian National Assembly. Most do not even know that even NIS, as we are talking about today, is not, it's under National Assembly. So if at the level of Nigerian people, even scholars in the university not knowing that, oh, Nigerian legislature to the National Assembly is getting bigger by the day, that today they have about 5 or 6 agencies. How would they appreciate when you allocate a certain amount of money to them? I think these are issues in terms of reaching out to the people, letting them know that it's not National Assembly of 1979 that we have today in Nigeria. It's not even National Assembly of 1999 that we have today in Nigeria. That the so-called allocation you talk about as, oh, the parliament are taking too much money. It's meant for this institute, it's meant for Public Complaint Commission, it's meant for NAS. Look at the staff strength. Look at the various buildings. Look at the capital. So I think these are issues that we're not looking into. Yes, we are colleagues from Africa, and I said, we do not just share good experience, even share bad experience too, so that we can learn. One of the problems we have, especially this year, in our own institution here, this is the first time. This is our principal. And I said, we are a problem. The parliament, we are a problem. For instance, this year, this is the first time in the issue of this institute, for instance, that our agency was not even capturing the budget. In other words, the National Assembly now subsumed the allocation of agency under National Assembly. So you are giving an impression to outsider the National Assembly is getting too much. So if in the budget item you see National Assembly allocation, and you now see 300-something billion, you say, oh, this parliament, they are thieves, they are taking everything. Not knowing that what the 300-something billion is meant for this institute, is meant for the commission, is meant for, why not just separate it?
Library Trust Fund.
Separate it, let Nigerians know that, oh, we have this agency 1, agency 2, no, this money is, but now subsuming it now, you are harming yourself. You are being unfair to yourself. If there's any opera on account of that, you are the cause of that opera. I think this is an issue we need to look into. So, I want to believe, just as we have in Ghana too, is left for the parliaments in Africa, you know, devise better way of funding that organ of government. Because without that organ of government, I keep on saying, like them, hate them, without the legislature, there's no democracy. And that institutions must be well nurtured. It must be well resourced. It must be well endowed. It must be given all the teeth, not only to back, but to bite.